Is that it?
Yes. You got me in. We're good.
We're good. We're live.
There you go. Good. And I see the comments and everything, so we're good.
Oh my gosh. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for your patience. I'm now I popped my live cherry. Thanks, Jenny.
That's good. Restream's good once you get it going. So.
All right, I'm going to shut off the phone now.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I don't hear you.
Hey, Jenny.
Okay, now I hear you. Good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I popped my live cherry. Thanks, Jenny.
Yeah.
Without you. If I was going to do it with anybody, I'm glad it was with you.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me tell you, I'm not the pro tech. I'm just, I had to learn the same way you did on that stuff. So trust me, everybody starts, they're not the person that they say they are when it comes to getting this tech stuff down. It's easy. It's not as easy.
Yeah, it really isn't. But, we did it.
Yeah.
Looks like we made it.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm so happy to have you.
Cool. Yeah, it's going to.
On my show.
Exciting. I did 2 shows earlier on a different normal radio show that was, a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was excited about putting this up with you and going over stuff that we have the same view on.
Yeah. So first I want to ask you a few questions.
Sure.
If you don't mind, because Jenny, you're a multi-dimensional seer.
Right.
And is this just for people who, haven't met you, weren't lucky enough to meet you before? Let's just put it that way. Right?
Right.
So is this a gift that you were born with and that you just developed over time? Have you always had this ability?
No, it's something I was born with. And so it's kind of just, and I think everybody at a certain level in their life, they have a sense of knowing. And I think each person gets into that knowing and they decide when they're going to follow it. So that's the whole thing. I just started following it at a very young age and listening to it. So, and we all start that journey at different times in our life. And I think when you have trauma early, it triggers up barriers in a different way. So I noticed that.
So you had early trauma and did that activate it, or you were born with it?
I think so, because you felt like you had to protect yourself versus someone else protecting you.
Wow. So it's kind of like something that was really, I like to look at it when I had breast cancer. They said the tumor looked like a black hole, but then my breast surgeon said the tumor was the size of a pearl. So it was like finding the good in something that was a horrific situation. So, pearl is a symbol of wisdom, beauty. And so anyway, getting back to, so you had trauma, and then out of the trauma you developed to protect yourself. That was the pearl and the black hole.
Well, I was born with knowing something, but when trauma started, it really put a different barrier around me.
Right. The pressure created something that
came
out of pressure. Yeah. That's interesting. So what exactly, before we get into what you're seeing, what exactly is a multidimensional seer? Can you tell me what that is?
So that means I see clearly through things. So when I get into a room and I see a person, I see things clearly. But it can be multi-dimensions of different views at different times, at different stages. So I'm able to accept each of those views and not be in a fear process with them and diagram them or download them.
That's interesting. So, that's really fascinating. What I love about what you do, besides the fact that you can see this, is because as an artist, I completely relate to what your drawing ability. Not only can you see it, but you have the ability to put it down on paper, and you're this incredible artist. So I really appreciate that.
Right. And that's where I think both of us understand that we have to get that image and put it somewhere. And if you hold it, it just kind of fills up the space. So you just kind of have to put it where it belongs in the sense of things.
Yeah, you have to get it down on paper because, you know, kind of use it or lose it. Or if you don't get it down, then it just sort of vaporizes and it's gone forever. It's kind of like ideas. You got to put them down, or otherwise they'll just go back into the universe or wherever they came from.
Right. Exactly.
So that's another thing I really love about what you do. You just work quickly. And what I really respect and admire you for is the fact that you are completely fearless about what you see and what you say. Even though, like, some would say, well, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. There's no self-doubt. You just do it. And I really love that about you, Jenny Lee. One of the many things I love about you, but that in particular is really...
That is just build my confidence to what spirit and my relationship with them is.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get into something that I might analyze before, I do it with them, but then they know when it comes down to it all, I'll trust them.
Right. So
that is what's important for each of us.
Yes.
When we get into that process, it's staying on their path and staying on their information, on task on that, and building that for people to trust that more.
So basically, if I may sort of go along these lines and continue this conversation, it's like what you're doing is not only putting it down, but you're also trusting spirit, so you're aligned with spirit and you're working with spirit.
Right.
And that is like where everybody wants to be when you think about it, right? Mm-hmm. Which is another thing that I really love about the way you work and that process. It's just like trusting the spirit and putting it down and knowing that you are in alignment with consciousness and Holy Spirit. I just think that is amazing. So, so you've been saying, and let me ask you something. When this happens and when you're working, does it happen many times during the day? Or you all, you know, do you stop what you're doing? Do you sleep? Like I sleep with a sketch pad, you know, next to me to jot things down. Like, does it happens all throughout the day, correct? It's like,
it's sporadic on certain times and certain situations and certain meditations. There's not a consistent basis that it's always going to come in a certain day or time, you know. It just as they decide to present it.
Mm-hmm. So spirit isn't really like a 9-to-5 job.
No. But like me and Jeep, we were discussing today. You know, it's the first relationship that I have, and it's the one that'll never exit, and then it's always the one that'll be nourished. And that was always it was there from the beginning. It'll be there till the end. It doesn't get replaced. It is a complete process, always.
So that's another thing that is so utterly fascinating to me, because, you know, you could sort of, when you're working with somebody and somebody says something and you tell them your idea and they're like, yeah, work on this, but in your heart of hearts, you're like, well, I don't really know. And it's like you listen to somebody else versus trusting your instinct or trusting spirit. And what you do is that you trust spirit and you like filter out the outside voices, right? Right. I mean, that to me is like the best way of working, because, you know, spirit has your back. Spirit doesn't have hidden agenda. Spirit isn't out to sabotage you. Spirit isn't out to make you look foolish so it could look better. Spirit is aligned with you. And, you know, spirit's never going to let you down. So that's a great thing, because it's like, you know, you're trusting something bigger and more powerful and the light and the spirit. So, I mean, that's great, because it's like you are one with spirit. And
So the thing is with this process, it is always analyzing together as a team
Mm-hmm.
and information. And sometimes I'm 4 steps ahead of what we need to do. But sometimes at late at night when I'm getting information and I'm drawing stuff or I'm getting stuff, sometimes in the morning I forgot what I did. Or so there's levels of conscience that you go in and out of on information, like this. I just want to use the example because people keep bringing up about the fake sun, fake sun, and
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. Yeah.
yeah, and how um, I presented it with a picture and documentation, and how it's awful it feels, and how it's your whole soul is reacting because they like, I want this information out there. They need to know that this is not the true energy source they should be enlightened by of
Mm-hmm.
nature. Um, and then you just present it, and I'm not sitting there going, well, should I do this or should I not? I just do it. You just get used to doing it.
See, that's great because as a creative who's, you know, drawn all her life and written graphic novels and cartooned, it's like there's a lot of second guessing and some ideas that were like, oh, I don't know about that, or it's too much, it's too this. It's like as an artist, listening to you and talking about your process, it's like validating that you should trust your own process and the ideas, you should trust the ideas that are coming in as opposed to like what's been done before. Because if something feels dangerous or new or like unsaid, like that's really where the excitement is as an artist and where the richness of the information is.
Right. Exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing is, but when you, like, I start in classes, when I do classes with people, and that's why I blindfold them first, because they have to build the courage and strength and trust with spirit, in different views.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get past that two eye syndrome and you go within, there's trust changes, you know, balance changes, so it's more rejuvenating, more processing. And so it changes people how instinctively they react to something when they're not looking on the outside of them for someone to verify it. They're looking on the inside of themselves.
Right, because it's like you don't need the external validation because you have the validation coming from source and you're aligned with the source, with spirit.
Right.
So you don't even need your human eyes, you're looking with your higher vision.
Right.
So you're blindfolded with these eyes and looking with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that.
Right. And that's why, for me, I'm not occupied in like this environment or putting props up or anything, because I'm like, I want you to focus on the information,
Right.
I don't want to focus on everything looking perfect. I want to focus on the information, because that's what people need. They need the information,
I think people are starved for the information. I think we all are born with this incredible need to know, right? But the thing is, it's like there's so much information that isn't true, or there's a lot of agendas, etc. I mean, we all know this, what's going on right now, but to be able to get to source or spirit, I mean, I think that's what pretty much, I mean, I want. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure most people listening now want that.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, and you give classes teaching this. So.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I like to throw you in the process and just, it's about trusting them. Because and I tell people, I'm not going to be there when you're in these circumstances, in these situations. You're going to have to trust them.
Mm-hmm.
They're the main broadcaster. They're the main source. I just open up the door or rip the Band-Aid off.
Right. That's what I like about your classes is because you don't tell people, or you're not guiding, you're just telling them, gently guiding how to do it, how to make the connection. But after that, it's like you're on your own.
Right.
Like you're not telling people what to see, or, you know, channeling something. It's like, no, you go do your own work.
Well, and some of my groups, like I teach them that they are the podium of light. They're holding the balance,
Mm-hmm.
and they will be leading the others. So it's a chain effect of all
Mm-hmm.
these. And there's an epidemic that's going to create and start with healers on a world-renowned process, because we're getting away from one thing we thought that was going to help us heal us, which is not the situation anymore.
Right.
Now we're going within. And those people that have been practicing and doing that for a while, people are listening to.
I hope so. I feel that a lot of people are. I hope more people start doing that. Let's just say that. But getting to like some of the things you've seen, because we put that thumbnail up about the blue asteroid belt. So you want to talk about, like, what is going on? What is up?
So it's
what does Jenny Lee see?
A long time ago they showed me
Mm-hmm.
going into the golden ages.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And as we go into the golden ages, we're going to be bombarded in the situation. These are steps that we're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one gal, it just seems like we always get thrown in the situation, like, boom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not even a process of being off guarded. It's just within seconds being thrown in a situation. So all of a sudden, we're in this interpretation outside the planet, and you're feeling this force and this pressure, and they're like, remember, this belt and these planets are all shaking and vibrating and going through a process right now. And then I'm seeing these bluish stones that have gold on them, and they're changing and they're coming at us. And so it makes you wonder what's going on above that they're not showing you, and what are they shifting us into other dimensions. And that's why they keep saying, you know, the golden sun, the golden energy, we starve for the golden sun, the golden energy around the sun, and not this bright light. And so I didn't get to, I have a start of that drawing, but this is like the clouds in space, and this is all the planets, and they're all vibrating around it, and the clouds are around it, and we're going in this loop thing,
Mm-hmm.
and out, and then so they're transforming what we're going through right now.
So is that the sun that we're looking at in the planets?
No, this is outside.
Okay.
Okay, so the sun's not in this process.
Okay.
This is the planets, and just think of vibration. We're going like this right now, and these are clouds that show this ring of gold in this belt that we're circulating.
Okay, that's a belt.
And also, they show these big squarish looking stones, bigger, that are coming at us, that it's like they're dismantling something completely that's breaking down. So that's the thing that I have to it's finished, but it's not finished, so I'm going to be more elaborate on this. But even in the stones, there's this frequency on everything. Everything's a frequency, everything's a vibration, and that's why you're seeing how everything's vibrating, or it's going in and out, you know. So when I get stuff like this, I want to get clarity on a vibration, that you're kind of feeling like you're not in the same place. That's the whole thing. And everybody is kind of talking about it, but they're not clarifying this, like, we're not in the same world. So I'm going to show this one.
Okay. Now it's
like, this is like our Earth.
Right.
And we're changing outside, and the sun rays are changing, and we're getting sucked into something that's new and
Okay.
enlightened. And I'm sure there's ships everywhere around our atmosphere right now. And the way they're describing it's just debris in a different way. It's shaking our system up. And this is the knowing of feeling it for yourself. Feeling, when I saw that, this was like pressure and feeling like I just got thrown from one dimension to another and seeing this going, whoa, what's going on? So the thing is with that, so this has to end to me when this belt occurrence vibration going to end. And it's always about a calmness that comes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when something begins, the calmness comes. And nature and natural occurrences are going to show you that. So this is something I wasn't trying to look at or get into. It was just thrown in front of me. So just like the fake sun, it's just thrown in front of you, just like the Red Ruby Lake.
Yeah.
Whole Malavali, whatever you want to call it. I
Mm-hmm.
call it Ruby Lake because that's what it looks like.
Which you called like before this even
Yes, 2 years
appeared.
before. So that's that, and Jeep showed me today. It's moving, it's shifting again, and all around our Earth. And they said that it would. So it's making, they say you're going to see so much red capsize around your planet, and so we're dealing with different colors on different frequencies.
I have a lot of questions.
Sure.
Okay, so let's go back to the belt, right? So, and the blue stones with the gold. Now, okay, you drew the belt and you see these blue stones. Now, first of all, why blue and gold?
Because there's this, the blue, and I see it on the firmament. I see it on the other side of the ice. It's just that there's a blueness that's in that represents a lot. It's an aqua, but there's a coating with it. That's what it is. I didn't see any, when people think you see these rocks that come in space and you think it's a gray, and it has nothing to do with, they said that those are dull colors compared to 4D and 5D. So they just show me these because it's been through something of that 5D process as it comes in, showing that residue that's coming in and those particles that's coming in. So it's showing.
So where did they come from? Where did these blues?
Well, like if you looked on in my Instagram, so whatever is what you see in the bottom of the oceans and rubberness, that's what it kind of feels, but that has a value. I always talked about these blue stones that were of value. So I'm trying to go, is this the blue stones that you're talking about that they told me? And people will tell you that they're talking about falling from the sky. And I'm telling all my people, go up and pick those blue stones up because they're worth a lot of money, energy, and value. So with this belt coming in, and however this happens, but there's this rubber feeling towards it. So, and this is the thing where people like, I just get information, I present it, and let it sit where it needs to sit. So we're down into a dismantling phasing of the 3D. It's just, if people think that is even a reality anymore, they need to catch up on everything. Because we are not in that concept anymore.
Are we talking ascension kind of thing?
Ascension, our world, the activation, the energy, everything is not in that process. And Spirit says the lessons that you learned in 3D, they don't matter anymore. It's done. We're going to the future. Everything's about the future. We're not about the past anymore.
What dimension are we in 5D, heading towards 5D now?
Heading towards that, but we're still in that 4 process.
Okay. These blue stones that you said could pick up, I was wondering, they're not interdimensional, they're actually physical?
No, they are interdimensional, but as they hit our this dimension, it's going to change a form.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always cool, this aqua bluish, and I've talked about those stones for a while.
Mm-hmm.
They know it. So it's going to be interesting. So I'm not going to doubt spirit, because when I did this,
Mm-hmm.
like really.
How long ago did you do that? How long ago?
2.5 years ago.
Yeah, and now that blue, I mean, the red blob is like
It's
all over.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. But you got it 2.5 years ago, and it started appearing like 3 months ago or something like that.
Right. But
Right.
they call it the ruby, which has energy. It has a frequency. It's worth value. There's many things that what it does, and then the thing is, where I got the information is, I would say, a type of guardianship that's always been in our presence of our earth, and now it's showing it, that they're above, like some of these storms that we're in. They're not real storms. They're just able to move through things and dismantle things. And because if you watch the frequency and energy move through it, it's not a normal process. For 40, you're not used to seeing it.
Right. So, I mean, I just want to talk about the red ruby thing, because there's like significance with the ruby color, right? But I mean, back to the blue stones and the belt. So why, okay, so it's about entering the 3D
capsule of time.
Right.
But as we're going into that, don't you think everything in our outside environment and cosmos changing?
Well, it has to, I would think.
And that's the thing. It's just everybody, the whole thing. And then they showed me the original, space. It has bright colors, clouds, these great colors. You think really space is just black and white?
No. I mean, that's our concept.
Space is not colorblind.
Right. Right. So I guess, but I just wonder why these blue stones are appearing, and what, and where did the belt come from? Was it something that
well, they referred it to the golden age,
right?
Open a time capsule in that golden age. And only that, they refer to some of these colors, like the showing me temperatures that are of tropic, of a complete balance. So and I've been talking about that for a while too, and that's why I think on the other side of the ice there's a lot of things that are being shown, and what's really going on over there, and what the abundance of what type of gardens are there, and what we're really attached to is no longer being hidden. If you want to look, you'll find more.
Are you talking about Antarctica when you say the other side of the ice?
Yeah, on the other side, and then what's on the other side of it is what matters. We're connected to in worldly, the actual expansion of the world, not a small little circle. It's expanded in what we have access to.
So Jenny, talking about the other side of the ice in Antarctica. So I know that you've talked about this quite a bit, but are we ever going to see, like, what do you see, and is there,
well, I think that they've already, I think there is an opening that's starting. I don't think we should be, I think with laws changing and, breaking those laws and putting us back to making our own free will and choice where we want to travel to is going to change it. It's always going to be that first voyager, or that first person that's going to see that in that way. There's a lot of people are addicted on discovery. They don't want anything else. They want to discover. They want to reveal the truth. They want to interact with it. They want to see it. They want to witness it. And that's just part of us that Spirit has put in this to be there at the perfect time to witness that stuff.
Mhm.
And spontaneously and instantly, when someone puts an idea in front of me, and the first thing I do is I check with spirit on it, and if it's not there, I'm like, nope. And it's just the way I process information, because I don't get my information from here.
Mhm.
And like I said, if I relied on that, I would have quit a long time ago.
Right.
A long time ago.
Yeah. So,
Um,
so what is Spirit telling you about Antarctica? That, I mean,
it's a tropic.
mhm.
It's a oasis.
Mhm.
There is things there that can heal us and
Mm.
balance to us. And I believe it also resides deep within our oceans.
Mhm.
And I tell people, once we get done in a process of understanding what we need to uncover,
Mhm.
we're be pissed. They've been lied to that much.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at what just happened recently with the press lying to us about the state of a certain inhabitor of the 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, we've been the people have been gaslit. So, I mean, that's just like the tip of the pyramid, let's say. Right? I mean, people have said they've seen that there's pyramids in Antarctica, but there's pyramids everywhere all over the planet. There's pyramids on Mars. So, I mean, when do you think we're going to start seeing what you're seeing? When do you think disclosure is going to start happening?
When they take the media and pull the plug and go, okay, we're done with that program. Now here's the real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And rip off the band-aid and throw you in the reality of the truth. And then your conscience has to go in and dig and read and accept. It's about acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you, an important part of that is the ego. We don't want to be wrong. We don't want to be played. We don't want to say that we were fooled. But they're going to have to admit that.
I mean, I would rather know the truth than be lied to. I mean, if there's one thing I can't stand, it's somebody lying to my face or withholding the truth. That whole thing, like, you can't handle the truth, that was in that movie with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson. I feel like that was put in our consciousness to make us feel like we can't handle the truth. That was like big programming right there. But you know
But it
what?
also was about taunting us and
Mm-hmm.
thinking we're so stupid
Right.
right in front of you, and you're
Mm-hmm.
so programmed that you can't even see it.
Yeah. But you know what? That's like that's like putting blinders over our eyes and telling, looking at the sky.
Well, yeah, looking at the sun right now, putting welding glasses would be a big plus right now to look at it that way.
Mm.
The way you're looking at it with your raw eye, I would be taking welding glasses and trying to see what you see up there now.
Because of what the state of the sun at this point.
Maybe what's behind it or what's coming in and out.
Well,
Or,
okay, now that you mentioned that, what is behind it? What do you think is behind it?
well, it looks like I talked about Gail's show. It looks like I drew. It looks like little bee cones.
Mm-hmm. You saw me.
Right. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, you showed me that.
Yeah, so it's not a comfortable energy. And you can do that now. I mean, you can go out there and you can tell spontaneously how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have to say, it's been looking like a white sun, not like a hot yellow sun to me.
Well, I mean, your whole Earth is reacting from it not being the sun.
Mm-hmm.
The animals, sharks, whales. So I am thinking, what else bigger do you need to know that it's it's showing that it's not the sun.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so who is, I mean, who is behind that? The usual suspects? Is that like something that was planned that we've been hearing about, or?
I believe there's a lot of activity going on above, and you see this fog stuff going on, and
Yeah.
with moving our planet into transformation,
Mm-hmm.
always fog and delusion keeps us occupied, but also what that does too, keeps you in your house,
Mm-hmm.
keeps you not wanting to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there a deliberate process to this so we can go into the 3 days of darkness? Maybe.
So how do we, let's talk about the red thing, and then I have a question about how do we sort of transmute this energy. About the red, ruby red that you're seeing in the waters. I know we talked about this before, but a little bit of a refresher. What exactly do you think that is for people?
Well, what they described, they're saying it's an energy and it has value and it's worth a lot. And there's other beings that want to tap into this. And it was just interesting until after we got to a certain process that has arisen. Because you want to understand where, and it has risen from the spot that they told me, Antarctica. And then it moved, and it keeps moving, and then it slowly is attaching. And it's always a process. They keep saying, "Look at Arizona." At one time it was the same. Right now, the way you guys feel and I feel in the air, it feels like we're in Mars. We're drawing. It doesn't feel like we're breathing clearly. Rain, you can't smell. So we're going through a process that they're going to get to a point that's just like, you've got to do something soon, or it's going to push people over the edge.
So, what do you mean by that? Because of what's
seeing it, then the normies, they're losing it. Because they are not working with energy. They're not working with understanding they're trying to push the same program that's not working for them. You don't want to go anywhere public. On the roads, people are reacting. Animals are reacting. So it's like putting two magnets together. It's heavy. It's this presence, and then these people around us. The ones that are awake, they're aware of these the Shuman resonance, the ascension issues. You're pushing it through you instead of acting like it's part of you. You're just recognizing that, and that's important.
You just brought up the Shuman resonance, and there's been a lot of activity. So what is going on there? Because I know that you've posted about it.
I always post about it because it's the first thing I look at, and then the last thing I look at night, because it's our world writing out these waves of frequency and energy that we're connected to, and it's getting extreme. And so I think anybody right now should be paying attention to that Shuman resonance and how they're feeling at that very moment. Because you'll look at yourself, go, what is wrong with me? What's going on? And then if you look at that and you talk to people and communicate how they're feeling the same way, like, I don't know, even right now, it just feels
thick.
Yes.
It feels thick
right now.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't feel like
right this minute.
Yeah, it doesn't feel light or buoyant. It feels like thick and heavy and like like a fake sun. Is that what you're feeling?
Yes. And
yeah. Okay.
It seems to be from like 10 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. It stays this way, and then when it hits the sunset, whatever you want to call it, and then it shifts off a little But that's what I'm saying. I think that sun, that flashlight they're using will have to go down for 3 days.
So what do we do in the meantime? Because I always feel like we have the power to transmute the energy.
So what I've been telling people I use when I teach a class is I use the black mask. That's in the day you need to relax, you need to let the energy go, put a black mask on. You go to sleep at night, put a black mask on to let that shut this down. Feel that light that's coming in. And so you can give yourself a break in that, and using a bell and moving energy out away from you and recognizing.
Like this.
Yes.
Okay. You told me to get that bell. The bell. Okay. Right. So the bell changes the energy, the frequency. Okay. And the mask.
Go to Walmart after you get out of the car. You're like ding, 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 ding. Oh.
Okay.
It's hard.
Because I do think we have the power to override whatever is going on. And
we do, but they're only allowing us to see certain things.
Right.
And right here, right now, and then to see beyond that, you have to go beyond this realm and ask questions, and maybe that's part of the process too. But eventually, like I always say, this pink fog or cream fog has to come, and they always talk about this calmness, that the fog will be, really close to Earth, and then it's almost like when a tornado's over. So beautiful and clear.
That's like the rainbow at the end of the storm.
Right.
There's always a rainbow. Like there was a rainbow after the deluge. So
yeah, you can feel in the back of your head right now.
Yeah. So okay. So that makes sense. I mean, so what you're saying is, okay, to not look with your eyes, but look with your inner vision, connected to spirit, Holy Spirit.
And that's why I teach in my class and stuff, how that everybody has that door to open. Everybody has that frequency to get through. They just got to use someone like me to send that direction into and open that door.
Right. So you give them the directions, but they're the ones who follow through and figure it out themselves. I mean, that's what I like about what you do. So, yeah, about your classes. And then also, like, I think we've all if you haven't figured out that the media is the fourth estate and part of the, military industrial complex, I mean, then I don't know.
I don't know how people I've actually I'm starting to turn TVs around in my room. I'm not turning them on.
Right.
Because I think it's just an AI process that's coming in through that. And I'm like, I'm not turning those back on until I feel something changing. So I'm not looking at it at night. I'm not turning it on. I'm not working with that.
Yeah. I mean,
that is a very good distraction to keep you into that wave. And I'd tell people to turn the TVs off completely now.
And tune into consciousness, tune into the Holy Spirit.
Right. You don't need it.
You don't. Why tune into the TV when you could tune into something higher? All right. So I want to see if we have any questions or anything here. Since I'm not like the most technologically inclined person, I don't really. Well, is there anything else you want to say, Jenny? Is there anything that you feel like we're...
Well, you're noticing dogs, animals, they're just sleeping through this whole day. They're not want to be outside. That's the whole thing. It just, the animals are already getting into a sleeping state, of a coma state. I talked about this in the download before, that they're already in tune to that great frequency that's tuning them. They're kind of advanced ahead, and they're reacting to their transformations already starting. And
Mm-hmm.
some of us are in that delay process, but this is where I really tell you, you need to be paying attention and looking up in the sky for. That's why you see this light fog everywhere. There's light white clouds everywhere. You can't see a clear night. Stars don't seem that close anymore. It is literally a process. And, I would say with the conscience, if you want to change anything, say, end it. In that conscience, just end the process. Let us get to the next step.
Mm-hmm.
To get to the next step.
So basically, you're saying that, this cloud, this thin haze, I mean, it's like, it's kind of something that we're going through now, as opposed to like clarity of vision. I almost, from what you've been describing, equate this to, remember in The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy's in the poppy field and like.
Right. Yeah, we're definitely in the poppy field.
We're in the poppy field.
And we need to get back on the yellow brick road and get over to the Golden Bridge and finish this and beat the hell out of the wizard.
Beat the hell out of the wizard and realize that we never needed him in the first place. And where's home?
Right.
5D.
5D.
New Earth or
5D.
Golden.
And so it's us. They say that awakening is awakening in your environment, awakening what's not real, awakening that when you feel like you're in public and there's no energy, it just feels like you got to see that people are not talking, they're just in motion.
Mm-hmm. I do feel, going along that line, like it's kind of hard, it seems sometimes, to connect with people and have like a real kind of dialogue. It's like it does feel like there's this thing like like this, right? It's like walking by. I talked to you and like Laura and a few of my other friends, and thank God that we talk along a lot. So
yeah,
that really
I'm really proud of Laura. She did a post on Facebook and had a freaking balls of steel stand up in her power, and I really like that energy that she brought to the table, and I'm proud of her doing that.
She really is. She's so courageous.
That was something. That was a chess move she needed to do and stand in her power. And when you do that, it just feels like you really know what's behind you. Sometimes you need to know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
yeah, I agree with you 100%. And she is one of the most courageous people I know.
mm-hmm.
And I really, have so much respect and admiration for her. And you, by the way. That's why I love you both.
So I think, and that's how we get through things, is we understand, as I say, push the dust off your knees and stand back up.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. Keep going. And that's the whole thing.
So, wow. Okay. I feel like, Jenny, this is like just the beginning of the conversation. So maybe we could,
Well, I got an hour today, so we're almost in 10 minutes before out. So.
Okay.
So we can set up another one, but yeah.
Yeah, let's definitely set up another one.
And I'll have some more downloads coming and stuff like this, but I think it was a good step for you and your process to see how you are and how your ability is and how things are changing for you and your strength too.
Mm-hmm.
All about each person coming into that podium of light that they're supposed to show themselves in their original form and those strong capabilities. So that's what it's about. Feeling comfortable.
And feeling comfortable and trusting the process and knowing that and not downing it, trusting it and putting it down
Right.
on paper and having the courage to put it out there. Because that takes guts. It does.
It does. And the thing is, I keep telling people it's not going to matter at the end because you're going to know the true ones and you know the ones with the false light. It's going to be seen at the very end. So I'm at that point, it doesn't matter anymore because it's going to be seen no matter what.
Well, that's what so that's what I really like about you, because you just do it and you put it out there and you are like not really looking for approval. You're just looking to impart the information and transmit what you see.
Right. That's all.
So
We're just that light for spirit. And we may not like the assignments we get. And we may resist it sometimes, but then we eventually get back on track, stand up, and finish it. And that's the thing. So we have to, what's going on in our world, we have to finish it. We're at the end. We're not going back. There's nothing to go back to. So we have to get through that uncomfortable zone, uncomfortable energy. And then at the end of this, when everybody knows it's over, you can hit the ground and go, oh.
So how much more uncomfortable is it going to be? And how worse is it going to be before?
Well, no, they've been very specific about July, that it's not going to be a very comfortable month.
Okay.
So it's literally our spirit going through patterns and energy and frequency, and I feel like our whole flesh body's breaking down. Go into that crystalline vessel of light. And it's not comfortable because the body's like, I don't understand this. It's foreign. And your conscience, your crystalline, your form into that is coming.
So we're shedding the density of this flesh body that we've accumulated when we were crystalline bodies to begin with. Right. Light bodies.
Exactly. We're shedding. Animals are shedding. Nature's shedding. Our earth is shedding. The whole process is shedding. Conscience of evil. Like I said, it's a breakdown in a dust, as they say, because it won't be able to exist. So I'm waiting for that dust particle to hit. And so, however, that evil is dismantled, which the ones who have been diligent and tired and wore out and sweaty and digging in the depths of the demonic to drag their asses to the top of the light, you have to honor them, their dedication, their strength, the non-sleep that they get, the food that they're not eating, the exhaustion that they're in. And like I said, at the end of this process, there should be a day that the child and the children that were sacrificed should be honored for their sacrifice and their blood and their sweat and their tears. And that is the biggest day that should be honored. We can't forget.
We can't forget. I think that's so important because, that's the biggest thing to me.
It's huge for me.
It's huge.
There's nothing more bigger than that.
Because children, if we need to protect the children, and how many times have you talked about what's going on? And people are like,
one drop of innocent blood.
You
made that choice at that time. There's no coming back from that.
Yeah. So I think you're right. Praying and honoring the children. And protecting them from here on out. They should have been protected all along.
And they have to swallow that, and they have to accept that, and they have to get past that. That,
I mean, you look at a certain couple that had just got married, and it's like, it makes me sick. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that's in the news. a certain person who worked with a certain woman who.
Well, that's always just to occupy you and put you in
Mm-hmm.
a program again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many of these programs that there's so many out there that are being dismantled that by the time you get done, you're like, well, everything that they've ever shown us and education and everything has been a lie.
Right. So that's why we need to get on our own timeline, create our own golden age, transmute the energy, connect to source, trust source, know who to connect with, stay clear of anything toxic, and
One of the biggest things
uh-huh.
is
Yeah.
no idolizing.
No,
No idolizing. Do
that
it. Work within yourself. There's no one that's going to save you. It's within you to connect with that.
I agree with you 100%, because that's giving your power away to false gods, fake, phony ass false gods, idolizing anything, whether it's
Well,
Hollywood, whatever.
the Sherry just brought up, and I've said this before because Cliff High has brought it up again with the angelic presence. He can fuck off.
Who can fuck off?
Cliff High.
Okay.
On his process, how he sees things. I will remote view the whole process with him, datum by datum, anytime. I don't care. And I've done this. So I call bullshit on him across the board. And as he calls out the angels, that will never be forgotten. Watch and see what happens. So I don't like him. I think he is a process that's bringing negativity to the process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
I brought that up, and it's a core of truth because it's crap across the board.
Well, I really think what you said about no idolization is really important, no matter who it is.
And don't go after angels.
Don't go after angels?
Yeah, do not try to think that they are lesser than man, because they have been there for everything through every process. And you're surprised which ones are at the very end of this whole process. So as I said, you're going to find out.
Who would go after an angel anyway? I mean, that show Supernatural. There at one point they were like angels are dicks, and I was like, and then there was like a lot of Freemasonry going on, and then somebody said that the witchcraft that they had on the show was real. So I was like,
right.
No. More programming that you wake up to. You didn't,
Right. Exactly. So
yeah.
you gotta go with your trueness and all that stuff, and do not let anybody take away what's happening in that light and that frequency that's changing. They want to bring it down. Don't give them power.
Because we only want to look up and bring it up.
Right.
Okay, Jenny Lee. So let's do this again.
We have to show you their master, who they serve at the end. Remember.
Right. Because we know who our master is.
Yes.
Yep. And there's only one. So there you go. All right, Jenny Lee. So let's do this again real soon.
Okay. Sounds great. You guys have a good evening and stay in the light, and use the welding glasses to look at that thing upstairs.
Okay. And don't lose heart and stay human, humans. Thanks, everybody. And thanks for having patience with me and technology, because I'm still a newbie at this. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks, Jenny.